So this is what the new internet site looks like. This is actually going to our test environment, because if I was running transactions in the actual production system, I'd actually have to pay for the licenses I bought. So if you go to license permit purchase, announcing your residency. So if you go to non-Canadian resident, you say you're neither an Ontario nor Canadian resident. Now there's two options here. One of them is if you have an outdoors card and you know your outdoors card number, then you click on yes. If you haven't got an outdoors card or you don't remember your number or anything, you can click on no. So I think what we'll do is we'll go and we'll try clicking on no. And then first name is Jim, J-I-M. Last name is Grayston. I'm using an alias for this because nobody would have that kind of name. No E on it, please.
He has a credit card though.
Okay, and his date of birth is 1960, 10/10. I was just guessing. You've got 10/60.
Not looking to be 20.
Yeah, that's more accurate than 1960, I think. 10/10.
There we go. Not used to it.
And then his zip code is 13579. And go continue license purchase. And so now it's going to the system, it's processing that. And there, miracle of miracles, that he actually found Jim Grayston's. So the question you were asking about, if you forget your outdoors card number, you lose it, there it is. So you get it. So, and it has all of his data there, so just, now you have to actually accept the conditions of the site. This is something our credit card service provider made us do. But you remember you were asking about if you don't want to get the mail? Well, if you don't click on either of those buttons, you don't get the mail. So you have the option, if you click on the buttons, then you'll get the mail, and then sometime in the future we may even do email messages, but only to those people that actually want it. So that's one of the screens we have to do. So if you go down to the bottom, and then just update. Now, there's the capability of also adding mailing address to your residential address, but if they're both the same, then once again you can just proceed along. So right now, and just wait a second, right now we're in the period of the year which we call the shoulder season, where we sell both the 2011, 2012 licenses. So once again, the company has set it up so that we can do either one. So hit 2011 for now. Okay, so what this is pulling up then is the options. Now I actually bought Mr. Grayson a test outdoors card last night, so you'll see on this that he doesn't have an outdoors card as an option because he already has one. So the system is enforcing the business rules. Won't let you sell him a second outdoors card because he already has one. And as much as possible, we've tried to build those in to make life easier for whoever's using the system. So if you hit conservation fishing license 8-day, because he's cheap, you know. Yes?
I mean, the license is up to now. You're supposed to have your outdoors card in with you when you have the license.
Yep. So,
but if you left it at home, would the license still be legal?
So we can print a temp out of this as well. So there is that option. One of the things that Jane just zipped over and I was going to mention is there's also a scroll over. So if you hold your mouse on any of the licenses, it actually describes the license and the requirement for that license. So if somebody's new coming in and they don't know the difference between, say, sport and conservation, you do the rollover and it tells you this is what a sport gives you, this is what a conservation gives you. Once again, to make it better for better customer service. So anyway, this is an 8-day license. So if you just and it has to be after today's date. So any date, you know, 12/12 or whatever, 12/01's fine, okay. So, and then just add license and checkout. We don't want to get another one. Now what this will actually do for you for an 8-day license or any term kind of license is if you put in the start date, it calculates the end date for you. So for all of our customers that can't count up to 8, the system will do that for them. It's for me and, you know, people that can't count. But once again, trying to make it as simple as possible for issuers and for customers to get the system to do as much as we can. So, yes?
Can you, if you make a mistake with the guest, can you go backwards?
Yep.
And change the start date.
Yep, you
Okay.
can delete, you can cancel, so you can change all of those kinds of things if you need to. Okay, so
Can
Can
you
you do by
delete?
just hitting the back button?
Can you hit the back button and just go back?
you can't hit the back button, because that will then take you right to the beginning. But what you can do is you can delete that item and it takes you back, and then you
Then just pick the license. with-
pick,
put your-
pick the license and year again. Okay, so if we go to checkout, so what it's doing is, okay, there we go. So, at the checkout, because this is self-serve, this is credit card only, and if you just want to hit Visa,
It expires here.
Which
and
credit
then-
card number?
And any expiry date in any year, as long as it's after this. Now, one of the other things that's built in is the system, if you put in an incorrect credit card number, so if you put in Visa and the credit card number you put in was actually a MasterCard number, it would reject it, because there's an algorithm there for each different credit card. You gotta have a certain number of digits, you gotta have a certain number of digits in the preface, all of that. So it's scanning that before it actually even sends it to the credit card company. Just so that if you're putting in the wrong number, it lets you correct that. So we're okay with this, so it says just submit payment. And there you go. So this is telling you now, this is what your license is, so you click print license document. And it's also telling you if you want to save that, so if you're worried about losing it or getting it wet or damaged, just save the PDF to your computer and you can reprint it. So click OK, we won't bother saving it.
There we go.
Yeah, okay, so there we go. So there it is, there's the license, has your outdoor card number on it, has the license type, and some of the background data. So that's a perfectly legal license for anybody to go fishing in Ontario now.
It'll be only a single piece of paper then?
It'll be a single piece of paper, so if you bought an outdoors card and you're 8-day fishing on that license, you'd get a single piece of paper. If you bought your outdoors card and a 3-year small game and a 3-year conservation fishing, it would be a single piece of paper. What you would get in the mail then would be an outdoors card with your 3-year small game and your 3-year conservation fishing printed on the back.
Okay, now for our friend who's forgotten his license, his outdoors
Outdoor
card, will this be adequate with the outdoors number on it?
No, he'll have to
They'll
have,
have to have the other.
they'll have to have the other piece because that's the regulation, the way it's written. But basically, that's
But
the
we
process.
can print off the one that he's
Yeah,
forgotten at
yes.
home. Okay.
And as a matter of fact, if he does it through the electronic system, saves the PDF, then he could print it off anywhere.
100 times.
So in his case, is he going to end up with 2 pieces of paper or just one?
Well, if he does it in 2 transactions, he'll have 2 pieces of paper. If he does it in 1 transaction, he'll have 1 piece of
Or
paper.
one?
Yeah. It's just-
Also, one other question.
Sure.
Is it possible for us, the issuers, to somehow generate a copy of the person's name and address? Because we have that now. Is it possible for us to do that in this system?
This is the public website.
Mhm.
So the next piece I'm going to show you is actually what an issuer will have depending on what equipment they have. And if you have the piece over there, the Verifone, you can print off a receipt which does have that information on it. But basically, that's the process going through the website. I won't go through a lot of transactions because
That's awesome.
time is relatively limited, but that's actually working. So we've had, just to give you one example, we've had 1,000 non-resident one-day fishing licenses purchased through that since September 7th. We haven't advertised because there was an election on and we weren't allowed to do communications, so it's been word of mouth only. And these are people that never could buy it on the internet before. So somehow they found out from a buddy or a friend or whomever that this is now available and they've gone on and bought that license, which I find
That's
is
huge, yeah.
really interesting. So I think we will see a lot of take-up, particularly with non-residents. I know when I've been to US outdoor shows, putting up with our friend Mr. Grayson there for a number of days, one of the main questions that people ask is, why can't I buy a license on the internet? You go to, for example, the Detroit Fishing Show, and that was like the number one question. You know, we've been able to do this in Michigan for the last 32 years. What's wrong with you guys? So this will really answer a big question a lot of non-residents are asking is can we do this and how can we do it?
I believe my customers will ask, what is gonna be the end charge on my credit card?
Exactly what you see there. What was on that?
Canadian funds.
So what you see is Canadian funds, there's no service charges,
No,
it's just exactly what the license price is.
okay.
So what you buy here is the same cost as what you'd buy at an issuer wherever.
Okay, so a fella goes on the internet and buys his own license. Then all of a sudden, something changes in his trip. He needs to change the dates of the license validity. Can that be done?
Yep.
Okay.
It can be done through your card center, and the 1-800 number is right there on the bottom of it, so he could,
Okay.
you know. So once again, he can't go in and do it himself, but we can have that done for him. Okay?
Oh, he has to call.
Has to call.
He has to.
Yeah, and it's a 1-800 number, so it's still free
24-hour
to.
service on that?
What's that?
24-hour service on that?
No.
Or-
No,
Saturdays
these are civil servants for not 24/7.
Oh, so it's Monday to Friday?
Monday to Friday. yeah.
Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was just gonna say, actually, I want to add a regular number, because 800 numbers usually don't work from Europe or Asia or something.
Okay, yeah, this one works from Canada and the US, I'm not sure about Europe and Asia though.
I'm not sure, but.
Yeah. Yes,
Basically, everybody who wants to go fishing in Ontario can buy over the internet a fishing license,
yes,
regardless if he is at home, in a hotel on the way up to his fishing spot, or if the fishing lot has his own
yep.
internet system with a printer.
As long as the printer works with this, and you have Adobe Acrobat on that computer, you can do it anywhere. You can do it in a public library, you know, you can do it anywhere.
Basically, I wouldn't need any more machine.
Well, that's a business decision that some of you folks may decide to make. And that's perfectly legitimate.
Question for you, the 1-800 line, is that similar to the 1155 number that for the Ontario residents where you have to wait for hours and hours and hours?
No, because that's the IVR, that's actually to buy a license. This is our helpline.
Yeah, this is actually calling
Because the
15
IVR
staff
line
we have.
is,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so
and
much
part of the
different.
reason the IVR line is because everybody leaves it to the last minute. I'm not saying you do, but everybody leaves it to the last minute. One of the things we will be doing with the new system as well is for residents, big game draw entry and draw results will be on the internet as well. So that will take a lot of the pressure off the IVR and should make that process much faster too. So we're trying to, when we've got this, we're trying to make as many improvements as possible. So basically that's the internet piece. So the next piece I'm going to go to, one more,
Well, I
is,
have a question.
oh, sure.
That issuer number,
Yep.
I saw an issuer number there
Yep.
just before. So how would my customers know my issuer number?
They don't have to.
They don't have
They
to,
don't
so
have to.
that's okay.
That issuer number is actually the issuer number for the website.
Oh,
So we've set up the website as an issuer, we set up IVR as an issuer, that's for our own internal bookkeeping. We'll be assigning you an issuer number in the system, and it's actually much shorter than your current IFAS or OLIS number, so you'll be able to remember it much easier. The first issuer we put in was number 1, and we're just working our way through 1, 2, 3, 4, et cetera.
Yeah,
So-
because you wouldn't want, Mark, them to know your issuer number, because then you're gonna get charged for the license that they buy.
Yeah, well, on the internet, they can't do it. All I can do is use the internet
So you
issuer
won't
number, yeah.
just use that.
Okay, so the other piece, and this is what I assume most of you have chosen or will choose, is the Verifone POS unit. And I've actually got one over there, set up and almost working. The phone line in this room is not the right one, but anyway, I
Speaking
can.
of phone lines, here's the question, we're on radio and telephone.
Yeah, and the answer we got from Active Outdoors, and I noticed I missed the slide that talked about Active Outdoors. The answer we got from Active Outdoors, it's a company that is doing this work for us, is it depends on the radio phone. That some of them work with this and some of them don't, and we need the model, name, and number. And they will then actually tell you whether it works or not. The newer ones do work, the really old ones probably don't work.
There are no newer ones in Canada, that's why we can't get a new radio phone.
Well, there are newer models than, and so if you just give us the model number, they'll test it and tell you whether it works or not.
Does it have
Now, is this gonna work with voice over IP phones?
It should.